Yo, JD here, Tyrrell Limits, and as you can see, back on F1 2020, and this is the start of the league racing season on this game, and we're here for World Online Racing, a league that I had done before, but I took a break in the last part of 2019, but now I am back, and this grid here, and which I don't think you'll see, but you'll see it in the qualifying, is probably the most competitive Xbox grid that I have gone against, and this is my banker lap coming into Australia, and it was a really good lap actually. That was
a good
kind of heartbreaking to watch that, because that was a very good banker lap, and it's always so crucial to try and get in the good lap early, because it really does set up the momentum for the rest of the qualifying session. But coming into this session, because they did a 19-1 there.
Very sloppy lap.
I just come off the back of a birthday weekend, which my girlfriend surprised me with. So I haven't played F1 for a few days, but I did prepare the week before. So, and in Australia as well, historically, as we start the fastest lap that I do in this session, I believe now, or I think I just completed the lap, sorry. Historically, it's been a very good track for me. I got pole last time I did WOR. And in other leagues, I think I had 3 poles in the last 4 league races I've done around this track. So historically, it is very good. But going into this turn 1, we completely miss hooking up that curve. And you can see we're over a 10th down coming out of this turn 2 for the first 2 corners, really. So this is not a good start. I'm locking up into here as well. You can see losing even more time, losing 2 tenths down now. So I knew that I have to absolutely send it, and go through here now. It's averaging about 1.5 tenths down, so this is really not good. And again, coming into this track, I felt
I'd just go for it.
Probably, I don't know, it was weird, because I feel really good at this game, and I think I've proven that qualifying speed I've done in a lot of social races, but this track just wasn't clicking for me, and I had to change the setup a lot because I was unhappy with the oversteer and then the understeer. I just never felt like I got a good balance for it. You can see we're still just under a 10th down going into the last sector, so we really have to go for it, because we're in P9 at the moment, and this is not good enough. The caliber of this grid, you do not want to be out of grid position, because it's so hard to overtake in this game. Doing a little bit of a lockup to go for this last corner, I just tried to go as fast as I can. You can see we've made up a sliver of time now, so being 2 tenths down to then improving by 200ths, that puts me in P7. What could have been, but no, my PB is a 0.5, but all day on this day, the Monday that I did this, I never got close to that. I always did a 7 at best, or an 8 or 9 or something like that. So I just wasn't clicking with this track, simple as that. And you can see the grid here is ridiculously competitive, but I just wasn't clicking. I don't know what it is. On other tracks in this game, I seem to click very well, but this one, I just never had the balance, and I was just continuously changing setups. And ideally, you don't want to be changing setups like an hour before the race, and that's what I had to do. I had to play around with some things, because some parts of the track I felt really good, and other parts I just didn't. So we're starting in P7 here on an insanely competitive grid. It's got 5 lights. And as they go out now, we get an absolutely rocket launch start up into 6th, going up into almost 7th place here, or 5th place, going down the inside, but we have to concede because the Red Bull on my inside, McCabe Sam, was right there to almost make a little bit of contact with the Mercedes. So out of all this, we've actually lost a position after having such a good start. I timed that start so well, but now, again, it's probably a good decision that I backed out of that, because if I didn't
down the inside
of that Red Bull, then I think that would have been a plane crash. I think I would have spun out, he would have spun out, and then Antoine would have spun out. And see, I got a warning on the corner before, but I just paused it there because at the time I didn't realise it. But looking back at it now, obviously, I actually got 2 warnings there, because I went out wide on the corner straight afterwards, and we have a safety car deployed already after half of that. But yeah, it was so annoying going through that turn 1, because we could have been in 6th or 5th place, and that really would have put me on the front foot in terms of attacking, because the race pace is never an issue. Doesn't seem to be an issue at all on any game I do, really. But that just would have been such a good help after a very poor qualifying for my standards in this game. So a good thing that I did back out. I think that was the right decision because, again, I think my race probably would have been over. And yeah, Sam, I think the Cave Sam did have a right to do that. He did have to cut the track to stay in there, but maybe he could have backed out. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. But no, we have lost the position because of that. And now because of the speed of the people in there, we have people like me, Syra, Pinecone, CRG Lut, the defending champion. Who else have we got? Shadow, Antoine, Logic, I believe. No, everyone in here is absolutely rapid, and it's just going to be so hard to make up positions because I've said this so many times. It's easy to stay in the DRS zone, but to get close is very difficult on this game. So right now, 5 laps have passed. We haven't made up any positions. Closing up to the back of Antoine, as Crescito is actually on the medium tyres behind me as he almost loses the car there. So now this could be an opportunity for me to actually put on some more pressure on the Racing Point, because again, you're not going to have too many opportunities here. And no, it's just so hard. You have the slight effect of the dirty air is just enough where it's so hard to get close, but then the overtake button, now people could just use that to defend, and it's, unless they run out of it completely, it's just so hard because the slipstream effect is pretty minimal in this game. Same with the DRS, you really have to rely on just pure momentum and just pure race speed. And again, these are probably the 20 best people on Xbox. I think the only person who's missing is really Tyrrell Martin. Now everyone here is absolutely rapid. Like my teammate Jam Pancakes and Syra, they qualified outside the top 10, so it shows how hard it is to really hook it up here. See, we're getting close in the slow speed, but no, I'm starting to put them under a little bit more pressure because they come off this corner. I definitely felt I had some more pace than people up ahead of me, but I just couldn't get close enough to get past. It's just so hard to get past. You can see a little bit of action up ahead, but again, almost losing it. And I really do struggle with the dirty air. I've mentioned that a few times in my videos. I really struggle with the dirty air, and I think it's crucial for myself to have as much clean air as possible, because when I have clean air, I think I'm thriving so much better than I did on other games. So this is not a good situation for me. The only thing that is kind of good, as Pinecone has been overtaken by Antoine. So I was pretty sure, although I didn't see it, I was pretty sure that Pinecone had damage, because there's no way that you should be getting overtaken in there. So he definitely has wing damage. So that is really, unless there's another safety car, that's pretty much him out of this race, because you're going to have to be using an extra 6 seconds in the pits, and he's probably going to have to be pitting very early. The only fortunate bit for him is that the pit window really is kind of out now, so you can see he's got chronic understeers. We're going to make quite an easy move, so I don't think he's going to make it particularly difficult. But I was just trying to say before that the leaders are not that far away, so if I can maybe pick up a couple of cars, you can see they're all fairly close together. The fight for fourth or something is quite close, and after this qualifying, I can tell you now, I'd be happily taking a top 4 grid position, or not grid position, but a race result after this right now. But going through into here, we got a penalty, and no, I'm questioning why I got the penalty, but the reason was, JD, is because if you look back at the first lap, I got 2 warnings. I just didn't have the pop-up for 2 warnings because I just did it so quickly. So this race, although we've made up a couple of positions now, it's not. It's been a tough one. It's been a real tough one. There's really nothing you can do when you're in this slipstream fest, and just with the dirty air, and everyone's just so close together, and it's pretty hard to overtake around this track as well, unless you make a really big mistake. It's pretty much gridlock. So the good thing is here that my teammate, I think, actually pitted on lap 1, Jam Pancakes. He didn't, and I think a few people at the back of the grid pitted lap 1 because they have absolutely nothing to lose, of course. I decided not to pit because I think I would have thought the hard tyres would have a very difficult time. They're about 2.5%, 3% a lap. Almost 30 laps, looking almost nearly 90%, and then prone to a puncture at 60 or 70. So I didn't really think it was worth the risk. No, I don't really need to gamble everything on the first race of the season, but we've got our second safety car now, which I didn't mention, but you can see it here. And the guys ahead of me, I think Antoine has jumped LVA Brown, which is P1R Brown, and they are so far behind the league group. Look at the league group, they're almost over the start-finish line, and I can confirm that isn't because he fell asleep That's because he had
why they're
the
so
game
far
was just forcefully slowing him down, apparently. So yeah, you'll probably hear me say quite a few times out what was he doing and stuff like that, which again, very easy to say in the moment. And no, I think you could just tell it's a very frustrating race for me right now, because I've been doing such good performances, and again, I feel confirmed that I've got some very good speed in this, but I just can't show it right now because I've just had a poor qualifying myself. You know, I made up 2 tenths in that lap after being almost 2 tenths down. We were 2 tenths down, and this is the price you pay. If you qualify outside the top 5 or 6, then you're in a traffic jam effectively, and you have to rely on people to make mistakes, or you just have to become absolutely god tier to do anything about that. And I think we're going to stay on board for the next few laps now to just give you a real perspective of what it's like being in this kind of frustrating, very, very frustrating scenario, as we've got a Brown clone, and I think that's Antoine, who's jumped 2 cars out of all this, so he's been very, very fortunate. But you can see here we're getting very, very close to people, and I think I just felt like I just had better speed, but I'm trying everything to try and put my underneath as much pressure. I was going to try and think of a move down here, but trying to get a good exit of this corner, using my overtake again. But you can see that with the slipstream and the overtake, we're just not gaining anything at all, because he's probably using his overtake to defend, and he's got the DRS in the car ahead, so he can afford to not really use it. And you can just see using the DRS, but we're losing so much time as well. It's you've got to rely almost on a near miracle to get past someone when, you know, with these drivers, as I said, all of them were probably in like the top 30 on Xbox, no question about it on this grid. So yeah, it's a very, very frustrating one, and you can't manhandle your way past someone. You can't skip the queue. You've got to rely on someone to just opt out of the queue pretty much if you're queuing up for something. So I'm trying hard as I can right now to try and put him underneath as much pressure as possible. He's getting a little bit close to the car behind. We haven't got that much pressure from behind, so that's the only fortunate thing. I can just fully focus on the cars ahead. Some people are, you know, like I said with my teammate, and I think a couple of other people, this is not my net position. My net position, I think, is about P6 or something right now. So, no, not a complete disaster, as T10 Shadow, the pole sitter, has now disconnected from the race. And I think this will now put me in a net P5. As I'm saying, I can't see anything there, which is quite annoying. But, yeah, no, it's not a disaster. It really isn't a disaster. And my mindset right now is really just to, although I've got the 1 penalty, is just to make sure I don't get any more penalties, because the track limits are so brutal on this game. It's probably going to be quite likely that someone's going to have at least 6 seconds of penalties. You can see, pausing it here, because going out wide in this curb is a big risk, but if you keep the wheel relatively straight, you're actually okay. And I did that quite a lot, because you really need to maximize the track as much as you can. So, no, as I was saying before, I was just really focused on just making sure I stay with these guys, because not getting too close. If I can get past them, great, but really kind of relying on penalties now, because it's going to be so hard to overtake them. I just want to be as clean as I possibly can, and hopefully I can actually gain some positions, because I think the guys at the front are really going to struggle with their tyres. If there's no more safety cars, they are really going to struggle. You can see the fight for the lead is only just theirs. It's not far away, and we're in a net P5, and no, escaping round 1 of the season, a net P5, or maybe even getting a podium after the penalty situation, really wouldn't be a bad result at all, considering, no, I was expecting myself to do, to be on, to fight for pole pretty comfortably around here and do well, but I just wasn't clicking with the track. I find this track very, very hard to hook up. Probably the hardest track so far that I've encountered is this track, which is, I know, is probably quite strange for me. Like going through here on a qualifying lap, keep it in the 7th gear is very, very difficult here. So just trying to maintain my distance as much as I can. But now, coming into that corner I was talking about on the last lap, and this time we go slightly wide, and you can see the wheel is not straight. And when that happens, all it takes is a fraction of a second and your race is over. And yeah, this is tough. This is really, really tough for me to watch back, because you know how hyped I was, how excited I was to get back into league racing, and I was on top of the world of confidence coming into this race. I really wanted to take it by the scruff of the neck and really showcase of what I could do, and it's just my own error, completely my own error, but it's heartbreaking for me. And then watching it back again is really, really difficult, because that's how quickly things can change. You can be in a really good position where kept it clean for the rest of the race, or maybe another safety car. No, you're still in it. You're still in it to win. Absolutely, you're still in it. But you just got to be consistent. But you make one mistake, and then that's it. I'm last. I'm last now. So it's just, you can't afford to make these little mistakes at this level. And I was saying over the commentary when I was driving that it was dirty air. I don't think it was dirty air. I think it was just me. I just carried too much speed, and I applied the traction because I thought my wheel was more straight than it was, and no, it clearly wasn't. And then that's it. And the rest of this race, I had to go on the medium tyres. I managed to gain quite a bit of time back again, because I think a couple of other people have had incidents like Shadow and Perondi. I managed to gain about 9 seconds on lefted, you can see here, but we're not fighting for points now unless someone has a huge amount of penalties ahead of me. We're really fighting for pride at this point, and yeah, it was a really, really difficult evening for me. This was because I was really, really looking forward to it, and it's very, very similar to my Hungary incident. I didn't expect the car to go that even going on the curb that way. I wasn't really even trying to push it to the limits or anything. You drift out too much, you turn too much, and then that's it. You're just gone. The car's just completely gone. So yeah, a very, very tough one, but many things to learn. A lot of things I've learned with the setup and how the car feels. I have an opportunity to redeem myself in TSRL, which is tomorrow at this very same track, because it uses the same calendar. And you can see I'm trying to put lefted under pressure, but we're just not going to be close enough. But someone else has gone off, but that's my teammate who has actually gone off, because I can't confirm he had a puncture. He was leading the race because he pitted on lap 1. He decided to take the gamble, but it didn't pay off. He got a puncture on the very last lap. So for the Williams team, it has not been a good day. And I've said this before, I've won many races on this game. I had a lot of pole positions, but I know for a fact that there is going to be races like this where it just doesn't go your way. And I wouldn't call this unlucky, because people say that it's me being unlucky, and it's very nice of them to say that, but it's not unlucky. It's just me making a mistake. It's as simple as that. So you got to live and learn. You got to take it on the chin. And to be honest, it's just given me a lot more. It's made me angry, to be honest. I was just quite angry after this race, because if I stayed in that position, I think we could have had a really, really good result. And you'll see by the results here, Antoine won the race, and he was only just in front of me, pretty much just in front of me. So yeah, it's difficult to take, as I think you can tell when I'm doing this commentary, but it has made me really, really fired up for the next few races, because I know what I'm capable of, and I want to do that. I want to come back with a good result. After Hungary, I started going on a winning streak, and I want to do that again. So thank you so much for the endless amount of support that I always get. It is just absolutely insane. It really, really is. Thank you so much once again, and I will catch you soon. Peace.